Greetings and welcome back to another supporters show. Salbu's not on here. I wonder if he forgot we were doing Wednesday for this month. Of course, we were doing Wednesday this month because the church I've been visiting out here has their stuff on Thursdays. So that's what we're doing there. I cannot personally get Rumble or Odyssey to load right now. So, okay. I don't know what's going on Rumble. Like, I'm getting the thumbnail and just the intro sound clip. But apparently people are saying it's there. And I can't get Odyssey running on my end right now either. But let's give it one more try here. Yeah, Odyssey's just giving me a spinny circle. So, I don't know. But apparently people are chatting on Odyssey. So, hopefully we're live over there on Odyssey. And I have confirmation here from the guests that Rumble is also working. So, we're just going to go ahead and plow ahead. Moonbase Alpha Grays, right, greetings. How are you? Yeah, Odyssey's just giving me a spinny circle. Excuse me. Somebody's running now. I can't tell who's running. Was that? Because I was getting audio feedback, and you guys probably got it too. Sorry about that. All right, I think we're good. Let me just refresh that one more time and just not push the play button. All right. So we got 14 currently watching there on Odyssey, but I can't confirm it myself. We have 8 over on the Tubies. We got 5 over there on the Rumbleys. We got 1 over there on the Twitchies. Excuse me. And we got 2 over there on D-Live.
Yeah, Odyssey's running.
Odyssey is. All right, good.
I got audio and everything there.
Well, just keep me up to date. I will be monitoring comments over there. We do have a live chat over there on Locals as well. I published a article over there on it's on Locals, Patreon, and on Subscribestar. So I did publish it for everybody to see. You can see the intro if you're not a paid subscriber on Locals, if you just are on the server at all. That will be an upcoming video. I don't think I'm going to get it out by this weekend, but probably next weekend. There's going to be a lot of editing. It's going to be a first run pass test. So let me know what your thoughts are on that. And I'm not even going to tell you what it is. You just have to go to Locals or Patreon or Subscribestar to find it. Links for all those are in the video description. How are you guys doing?
Doing pretty good.
I'm doing pretty good myself, too.
All right. Very good. Brief update on I spent a little bit of time looking into the chapter issues because I said, I'm going to put chapters on these longer embedded videos. I am putting in chapters. They're not showing up. Apparently that's because we still have the active community strike for talking about that evil, horrible program called Hypnotics, the Linux Mint application. Apparently it turns out that if you have active community strikes, YouTube will not put chapters on your videos. So if you really want to see the chapters, go to Odyssey. Chapters work just fine over on Odyssey. So you guys can, YouTube is just becoming comical at this point in time. So in theory, now I have one more thing I'm going to try, this week with the news. Some people are saying if you put links before the chapters, they won't show up. I'm going to try that because there's rumblings that it's just copyright strikes will not allow chapters. But community strikes are probably part of that as well. But this week I'm going to move the affiliate links down underneath the chapters. Now, understand I've been doing it the same way for a long time. They were there and then they disappeared. And the only thing I can think of is they disappeared because,
Google is really good at making things just disappear.
Oh, they're great at it. It's just, they take random stuff back behind the Google shed and silencer or something. Greetings, Calvin, from over there in New Zealand. Diemaster, am I the only Patreon person here? I feel like the only one in the audience. No, all the supporters that are on the live call are also supporters as well. So you got to be in that to get the link to the show, which, by the way, I will say, too, that if you want to hang out for like a half an hour after the show, you're just a little camera shy, you can access the links. We do hang out for about a half an hour after the show goes off. So that is the case. Guests are echoing, I'm hearing. Somebody say something quick.
Hello, how are you?
Hello, echo.
Okay, I can see they're echoing as well. Let me try this real quick. I'm going to do a couple quick things on the soundboard. I'm actually trying a different way of putting it in, but thank you for informing me. Let me push, hold on. Okay, that completely mutes them on every end. How's that? Somebody say something.
Say something.
Yeah, something.
Ooh, I think that fixes it. Go ahead. Say again.
Something of something.
I think that fixes it. Let me know if the echo is down. Apparently, I need to push the USB to phone. I don't know. This board sucks. If you are looking for a USB interface, do not buy the Behringer one, which kind of funny because Behringer is supposed to be a really good company. Buy the Pile one. It actually works a lot better. Behringer one, I swear, half the time it just sits there and does nothing. All right. Horror Stream Live says chat over there on Odyssey, and Buried Unkinda says echo. All right. And let's see if there's any more. We got some discussion going on over there on D Live. Hello, Vampire Frog. Where can I contact you? I've released my chat system. It can do D Live, Odyssey, YouTube, Twitch, Trovo, Entropy, and you can add more. Go to the website. There is a contact page, and you can reach out over there, and then I will email you back. No Rumble yet. Have not been able to create an account. All right. Guess has an echo. Echo gone. Okay, so hopefully I fixed the echo stuff. All right. Let's go ahead and Behringer sucks, says GTK. It's supposed to be good. And here's the funny thing. Like I went to a music store. This is right. I think maybe it was right early Koofy craziness. Because I was started the show with a Meteor mic, and then when that finally died, I went out and I got this guy, which is a wonderful microphone. Limited, special edition one and stuff. Beautiful silver color there. But I'm like, well, they have Behringer USB interfaces, and it looks like it has more options than my Pile USB interface. Yeah, it sucks. The Pile interface works better. In fact, I was trying to do some stuff with this for feeding the microphone directly into my DSLR camera, and I cannot get it to work really well. Whereas the Pile worked great. And so it just doesn't work as well. And then of course they sell me I think it was a Shure brand, lapel mic. It's the worst sounding microphone ever. And it's like supposed to be like an amazing audio company. And of course the thing's advertised like this thing works with everything. It's a TRRS, which means it doesn't work with DSLRs. It doesn't work with anything other than cell phones. I found only exactly one good use for that stupid microphone. And that is, for whatever reason, if you are recording in a windy environment, despite it not having a dead cat or anything, it doesn't pick up wind. It is the only microphone I've been able to record with in a windy environment outside. But of course I have to have a TRRS to TRS adapter on it. But anyway. Yeah. Anything else before we get into our topic? We're a good 10 minutes in. We may as well get to our topic, right?
Yeah.
All right. So we want to talk about self-hosted software. I was hoping Selby would be here because he probably does a lot more self-hosted software than everyone else. I don't know. Ivan, do you do any self-hosted stuff or not?
I used to. I
Okay.
did a Minecraft server using a Raspberry Pi. This one.
Cool.
And I also did a Nextcloud for personal stuff for a while, also on a Raspberry Pi.
Cool.
But since then, I've just been doing stuff regarding clients. That's about it at this point.
Good. Yeah. The speaking of the Raspberry Pis, I did get the fun system figured out where I can borrow somebody's Wi-Fi and feed it backwards through an Ethernet port into my 5G or my gigabit Ethernet network in the van. So I should hopefully, in theory, be able to set that by the window at a Walmart parking lot, run a cable back, and feed internet from Walmart parking lot into my whole network. And yes, I did enable it through a VPN as well. So that'll be an upcoming video soon as well. All of the footage is recorded.
Walmart.
What's that?
Your video is probably called "How I Jacked Walmart."
Hey, they make their public Wi-Fi available. They didn't say I couldn't get on there and feed my whole Ethernet network with it.
There you go.
So somebody gifted me a game on Steam, and so I want to download it, and it's 5 gigabytes. It's like that's like a large portion of my monthly bandwidth. I can't download
Only
that on
5
the internet.
gigabytes? Boy, you got off light.
Yeah, it's an old game, so it's all good. Anyway, self-hosted software. And the reason I want to talk about this is, we get so caught into services and things, and we think about, when we start talking about email, everyone's like, oh, what's your Gmail? What's our, Outlook, all this kind of stuff. There was a time when these big corporations didn't control all the email. Of course, I did the video about email the other day, and I didn't mention, I probably should have, but I didn't mention all of the other services that are a little bit more reputable. But even still, I don't really want to rely on another service as well. But I actually have a lead on a software package that might help us out in that respect. So I'm going to be probing into that. And if you are forced to use like Gmail or something, I might have a good application to either use it or get off of it, or at least have a solid backup in the event that Google decides you're too spicy and kick you off and steal all your email. Having in your Google Drive a document with no text in it that for some reason they were banning people's Google accounts for that a while back. Kind of fun. I got into the idea, and I talked mostly in there about self-hosting email. Of course, the easy way is to run a cPanel account. It's not the most secure, but we're not talking about something that you're going to be communicating with high-profile journalists with. We're just talking about basic email. Of course, most of them do now support some encryption models, but then there's full email servers. I just use cPanel emails. It's easy to use. It's easy to move. It's easy to migrate if my hosting company goes nuts. But there's so many more things you can host on your own, and it makes more sense sometimes to do that. Like, for example, our Jitsi server that we're using right now. This is self-hosted on my platforms. And so anyone want to have any discussions, pros and cons? What do you think would be some of the benefits or the drawbacks?
Well, I happen to like it a lot. Like with that Minecraft server thing on the Raspberry Pi, I was a tester on it, and I think it would, I think for something like that, of course, it's a game, but at the same time, it's like, it gives you the option of like having it all in-house and local, and you control it, and you control how it behaves and how it operates, and it will only do what you allow it to. Whereas if it's something that's hosted outside or within the company, of course, you follow their rules, their function, their rule, they basically control everything about it. But, some of my concerns with it is that I've had in the past is, yeah, it's great. I've got it here and it's mine and I control everything. That's also where it goes against you as well, is because, yeah, if you've got the full control, you have to have the full support of it. You can, of course, go out and ask questions, if you happen to need help with something. But at the same time, to some people, you could be shooting yourself in the foot. And also, like, it's like I did my self-hosting of a Nextcloud server using a Pi similar to this one. And I ran for a while, and then it started to have issues, and then I decided to step back and say, okay, I'll leave it to the folks to run it, and I'll just pull from it as long as it's still encrypted. And it is, fortunately. It's the folks at Disroot. And it's like it has its rewards, and it also has its caveats. And, it's like as long as everybody is conscious of both sides of it, then more power to you. Go for it. Give it a try. See what happens to work out for you. I mean, I'm definitely certain that there's lots of other software out there that could be self-hosted, and it's like they can't really say or recommend, hey, go for it, but at least be aware of it, try it out, see if you can get it running, and ask the communities for assistance when you think you need it. And don't be afraid of like how simple it might be versus how difficult it might be. Just throw it out there and see what they happen to say. And when it comes to folks that are hosting, businesses that are hosting things, it's like they could throw a cost on support, so that's something to consider as well. But for yourself, it's like, hey, if you're willing to put in the time investment to learn it all and support it and everything like that, go for it. It's like it's a rewarding experience in itself, especially when it runs great and it runs the way you want, and everything there at that point is like cheesecake.
Cheesecake. Man, you're making me hungry for dessert now.
Oh, I made my first quiche last night, and oh my word, it is amazing.
I tested a no-bake cookie recipe with powdered milk instead, but more on that later. The basic summary. Yeah, I mean, the huge advantage is you have a lot more control. You can control the data, you can control the logs, you can control all these factors. Downside, of course, is you are responsible for security. You're responsible for the security of said data. And, so some people might say it's too high of a risk, but the reality is it's worth learning it. Even if you need to, use the affiliate code, pick up a Linode account and just start with something similar. Go into the Linode marketplace and just install something from there and just make sure you're getting in there, a couple times a month and, update the server. That's really a lot of what it is, just to make sure. And that's really the thing. You want to make sure that whatever you're using, you are keeping up to the updates. But let's go ahead and talk about, you mentioned one of the things in there was looking for what type of software you can use. Well, if you go on over to Alternative 2, of course, this is the place where you can just type in an application. It's going to give you a list of all these alternatives too. There is a drop-down menu over here, and over here on web, find self-hosted. They have 5.9 thousand self-hosted pieces of software. Look at this, Bitwarden. If you're looking for a password manager and you do need an online one, Bitwarden is self-hosted. Now, I personally am not a huge fan of their model because to enable your system, you have to give them an email. That means they're collecting some form of data. Even though it's free and self-hosted, you can't use it without giving them information. And I find that to be a security issue, personally. Although, use a throwaway email address, whatever else. Joplin, I don't even know what all these things are. I have no idea. Note-taking to-do application, large number of notes. So if you're trying to sync and organize notes, there you go. And this one has phone apps, phone app installed. Nextcloud, this is one I actively use. We talked about it already. Nextcloud can replace Dropbox. It can replace Google Drive. It can replace most things Google. I personally use this for syncing my calendars, syncing my contacts, some file syncing things, so many things. And the amount of stuff you can do inside of Nextcloud is absolutely amazing. Of course, there's free and open source apps available on F-Droid. This is an amazing piece of software. If you want to play around with it, of course, you can do some, you can try and walk through their scripts. They have some scripts. They have some snaps. They have some. They probably have some Docker containers. I like doing it all manually, but if you want to start out and see what it can do, again, go over to Linode, into the marketplace, one click, install Nextcloud. It's that easy, and then you can see what all it can do. And there's so many fun things that Nextcloud can do. Look at that, Element. There's a way to access the Matrix system, which is a completely federated chat application. So you can go ahead and set that up yourself. Calibri. I have videos about setting up Calibri on a web server, which can manage things. We still don't have the ability to sync chapter locations and things that I know of. They might have fixed that by now. But you can just kind of see there's so many things in here that you can find inside the self-hosted platform that, I mean, literally anything and everything you need, you have the ability to do that. And so stopping and looking at the self-hosted options out there is absolutely a thing to do. And for me, this is the biggest way you can take back a lot of freedom in your life, is to look at these different applications and replace some of the services you need with these. I mean, I've been using Nextcloud completely flawlessly for I think 4 or 5 years now. I can't remember how long I've been using it, since like version 12 or something, and we're in the 20s now. So it's flawless. It works great. Very few hiccups. Of course, you need to get in there and make sure you have updates and things like that. But that's a little bit of take about some of the positives and responsibilities and how to find some of these. I kind of pulled out 3 to really highlight. Of course, one of those was Nextcloud. So, any you guys have any other commentary before we get into the other 2 software packages I pulled out that I've played around with?
I really like the Nest Cloud. I mean, because I happen to use it through Disroot, and
And you
it's-
did
it's
yours
an amazing
just
piece of
locally, or was
software.
yours available outside your office?
I just did it locally, right on my Raspberry Pi, and I was actually part of the team a little bit. I managed their Mastodon and Twitter accounts a little bit.
Oh, cool.
And I did that. Yeah, I just did it for a little while, and then once I started having my issues regarding some of the Pi software, I backed away from it at that point. I said, "You guys know what you're doing, and I need to back off because it was taking up too much of my own time."
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that's all.
That does raise another point. One of the things you can do with self-hosted software is you can put it on a local network and block it from network access, so it's only available to you. So in that case, if you're using Nextcloud to sync your calendars, contacts, and things like that, it'll only sync if you come home. So if you make any changes to all that kind of stuff out in the wild, it won't sync back into your Nextcloud until you come back. Now, mine is actually hosted on the internet itself, and so mine is perpetually works from anywhere and everywhere because of that. But I also don't store anything that's super sensitive up there either. So
Yeah, that'd be the same for me.
yeah,
It's amazing how we went from MySpace to MyCloud.
I know, right? Yeah, everything's up in the cloud.
Yeah.
So now, Dan, you are using cPanel for emails. What's your experience been?
My experience has been absolutely great, other than the expense is a little stiff. I have my email set up through A2 hosting. It's on a minimal web platform, their low budget one. And the good thing about that is you can create your own domain name for your email. So your email isn't at google.com or yahoo.com. It's at whatever you want it to be. So you get to make your own, .com for your email. After with some help from Tom and setting it all up, I haven't really had to tinker with it very much. I did go in there and figure out how to make another email account to retrieve junk mail, something I would give out but could delete at any time. And that's been working pretty good too. It's been a really good experience. It's kind of, like I said, it's not really a cheap way to go. If you're looking for free, that's probably not, you're not going to find the same kind of quality for free. But it outperforms Gmail by far. When I tell someone to send me something, poof, it's here in a matter of seconds.
Yeah, it's not filtering through Gmail's
it's
filters.
not going through the whole internet where everybody gets
what
a
can
copy.
we glean about this guy from this email?
Yeah.
So not like I'll take a copy here and I'll take a copy there and so on and so forth. And I wanted to tell you also, when I had set it up in cPanel, so actually what happens is I run it through Thunderbird. Thunderbird every 10 or 15 minutes goes out and pokes the account and sees if there's any mail in it. And if there is, it downloads it to my base computer at home and then clears the server and erases it. So I'm not piling up gigabytes of email on their servers. And what was sent is there and gone.
Yep.
But I think it's like $92 a year, plus every year you got to renew your domain name, which, that's should like $10.
Yeah, it should be 10 or 15 at this point.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like I have my own domain, and I got that connected to my email, which is handled through Proton.
Mm-hmm.
I did. I happened to, like, a few years ago, I got a package deal with the VPN and mail together, and they charged me every 2 years at like 45% off, and I'm like, that's fabulous. And then they said, hey, you can link up an existing domain for it, and I'm like, well, I happen to have that. It's only like, it's an XYZ, because Gen X, we're awesome. and
Nice.
and so I went ahead and I just read the tutorial and plugged it on in, and it's fantastic. And so I've got my XYZ domain connected to my Proton mail, and then I use Vivaldi for my business, or my garbage account, and then I use distro mail for other garbage. It's
Mm-hmm.
like, it's awesome. So yeah, it worked out pretty well.
Yeah, I
Good.
got an
Yeah.
email from A2 Hosting a few months ago. They were going to start getting into email that you can purchase, like Proton or stuff like that, where you don't
Mm-hmm.
have to buy the whole web suite. You can just buy the email portion and they'll help you set it up. But when I called them and told them what I was doing and what I was into, they told me I already paid for a year of hosting a whole website on
Mm-hmm.
their system plus email, and I'd have to wait until I renew to get just email.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, is it going to be a little bit cheaper if you do that?
Um, yeah, they said it would be probably about $20.
Oh, yeah, that's good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and those are still tied to your domain, and certainly, certainly a lot smaller of a company. And since they're not explicitly focused on that type of stuff, they're not buying and selling the data. That's just kind of what they're doing. I would hope
That's one thing
anyway.
I
You
wish I
never
would
know.
have asked the guy when I talked to him on the phone. Do I get to keep my own domain or do I have to use one of yours?
Yeah, it should be theirs. It's going to be a service similar to what GoDaddy does. But beware, they might be outsourcing it to Microsoft or Google, because a lot of companies are doing that. So like GoDaddy right now, if you buy the GoDaddy's premium email, or they give it to you with your domain, it's actually through Microsoft. So if they need to change the name servers to
Well, that
Outlook
wouldn't
name
help me at all
servers,
if I had to
no.
change my domain name, for my email because I have a lot of important emails. Being
Yeah,
an
but
older gentleman, I got
what I'm
doctors
saying
in.
though is, if it's tied to your domain name, when you're using Outlook or Google on a professional level, you still have your own domain name. But what they're going to do with GoDaddy does is they outsource their email platforms through Outlook, and so it's effectively the same thing as having a Microsoft account. So it wouldn't work for your situation, because you're just turning around and giving
Yeah,
your
I need to have my own domain name for my own life that goes on
yeah,
within
you'd
it.
want to
Yeah.
look into what the infrastructure is. Let me look it up right now. Um, Let me see if I can find anything
They
about it.
did tell
Then,
me it is a new and evolving product.
yeah, yeah. All right, there is a email hosting on their website. Let's read this together for the first time. Easy mail integration, 24/7 Guru Crew support, hassle-free money-back guarantee. Let's see if we see how it's working. Branded with your own domain name, 10 gigabytes of data. Of course, it has all of the stuff in there, and then they have the 259 is 30 gigabytes per data. What is email hosting powered by Titan? Provides you email address that match the domain name of your site of business rather than relying on third-party domains such as Gmail or Outlook. Your email's hosting plan can use many email addresses you need. Okay, let me see if I can see.
But you get to keep your own
Yeah, you
domain
have your
name.
own domain name. What my concern is, are they using? So it says it's through Titan. Right. Company's hosting plan. Let's see. Okay, let me see what Titan is. Let's do email powered by Titan. Because one of the things you also have to watch out for is there's a ton of companies that are simply reseller subsidiaries to Outlook. I'm not sure of any that are resellers to Google, but I know we actually, one of my clients uses Microsoft as the one managing the emails, but it's through a third party, and we always are having issues with it.
Yeah, we're trying to run from the enemies, not run to them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd have to do some examination here. I don't know exactly who Titan is, if they're a subsidiary of any of those. But yeah, it looks like they're outsourcing it to a company called Titan, which I know absolutely nothing about. So let's go ahead and get back into...
So they're outsourcing that service they're trying to sell you.
Yeah.
I don't want nothing to do with that.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on the company they're outsourcing it to, you know. But we'll see. Anyway,
the problem is when you go get into outsourcing, look at the auto industry. They start outsourcing this and this and that. Next thing you know, all the parts are all over the planet just to make one car. What a waste of energy.
Yeah.
The globalists want something to whine about. They need to whine about the way they do manufacturing.
Yeah. Next software I want to talk about was Jitsi. Of course, we're using Jitsi right now. So
yay!
You can download it. You can download the app for your phone. They even have the link directly to F-Droid, which is awesome. Google Play and the Apple Store. But you can self-host your Jitsi on your own domain name. So I have a Jitsi server on my own domain name. And, you can set up the options and configurations. I have mine set up so you need a password to launch a meeting here. So it's not freely open to the public to just jump on over and just start using a Jitsi server on my account. But it works for the applications we need. So that's one of the fun things. And again, on Linode, you can just go on over again to the community, click on the Jitsi server, and you'll have a Jitsi server. Of course, I took the super crazy long way around and manually installed it on top of ISP config, which was a giant nightmare, but hey, we got it to work. You can, here's the self-hosting. You can do the nightly build and you can do the stable. It says Ubuntu. I'm running mine on Debian though, so you don't have to use Ubuntu. Ubuntu, ew!
Ew. Terrible.
The last software is, I actually played around with this for a while. I wanted to see if it was a good viable option, accounting. So it's a web-based alternative to like Nextcloud. And it provided a little bit, it provided some prettier graphs than GNU Cache. It was, I can say in some places, a little bit easier to use. The reason I did not end up going with it in the long run is that in order to do adding add-on features, like there's no backup system integrated into this, and the database is not encrypted. And so with that, we had some immediate issues with the possibility of a data breach, or if your server goes down, restoring it would be difficult without doing a manual database backup. And the support's like, oh, we're going to add this in eventually. And they've been saying that for like 8 years by the time I had played around with it. The other thing is it only supports simple accounting at front, which means it doesn't have things like your accounts receivable and accounts payables. So it's not going to be super good for that without getting a plugin. And unfortunately, the only way to get the plugin access was to create an account with them. And it's like, well, that kind of defeats the purpose of having a completely private self-hosted thing. Now, I've since actually found another one which might replace this even more, but it's really complicated. I'm still playing around with it. I'm looking for something that might be a good online royalty platform for authors in my publishing group. But yeah, we'll see. Accounting is not it. The other one may or may not be it. I don't know. I need to play around with it a little bit more. But for simple accounting, this is good. This will work out of the box. And what I did is, as Ivan was doing with the Raspberry Pis just offline, mine was not connected to the internet. You couldn't get to it from the internet. It was just local. But it was local in such a way I could access it from any of my computers on my network, And if I VPN'd into my network, I could get to it there as well. So it had a lot of good advantages. I'm not saying it was a bad application. I'm just saying it wasn't the application I needed for my particular use case scenario. But this is yet another example. And of course, there's about 6,000 other applications you can flip in, like that PeerTube. Some people are saying I should set up a PeerTube instance. I don't know. I might look into it. Tutanoa, is that self-hosted? Can you self-host that? That's interesting. There's Matrix, OpenVPN. I've done that. We have a tutorial on Jellyfin, completely self-hosted media platform, very similar to Plex, except Plex does require you to create an account with them. Same thing with like Bitwarden in order to access it. Jellyfin, you can set it up completely free and open source without giving anybody any extra information. Again, I have videos on setting up Jellyfin. I did a Cerex. I don't think I did a video on it, but I actually did test a Cerex at one point in time, which is a your own highly customizable search engine. Diaspora, free social networking. There you go. Own cloud. Basically outdated Nextcloud.
Yeah.
Oh, Firefox Sync. Is that self-hosted? Can you self-host Firefox Sync? That might actually change things for me. If I could sync to my own server, that might be a good thing to try. I don't know. Pi-hole. We have a tutorial on Pi-hole. Self-hosted DNS and ad blocking system. Which you can, by the way, use the Canary platform. This one is actually going to make an appearance in my next scripted video that I'm working on right now, Home Assistant. If you are into any of the IoT type stuff, but you do not want to tie that to a big corporation, Home Assistant, you can automate all of your home information on your Home Assistant platform. So there are a lot of tools you can do, and it would be worth picking up either a cPanel or a Linode account just to play around with some of these, even if you never put them into production. And so that's really what we want to talk about here, is just give you a little bit of motivation to play around with some of this stuff. See if you can't get it all figured out. You guys have anything else to mention there before we jump over to comments?
Yeah, I like to keep my data as close to me as possible.
Is Odyssey still working? The last comment we've had on Odyssey was 30 minutes ago. That one's usually a pretty active chat. Let me go ahead and look at the 2B2B
It's
comments.
running. I just pulled it up.
Can you see? Is the last comment I have showed up is Behringer sucks? Do we have comments after that? Yeah, well, Dirt Rock just said hi. So apparently we had a 30-minute lag where nobody was talking.
There's Dirt, Moonbase.
Yep, Moonbase just commented. Okay, I guess it's working now. You guys were just so captivated for 30 minutes. You just had to
Odyssey's a little more quiet than YouTube is.
Yeah. Well, usually it's actually just about as active for my channels, but it's possible we just don't have how many people are on? Well, we have 19 over there.
Yeah, I'm showing 19 as well.
We are at an odd day for the show. I know. For the month of December, we're going to be doing these supporter streams on Wednesdays, not Thursdays. I may or may not get out a video tomorrow. I don't know. Let's see. Hello, Ashton. Let's see. We did the echoing. How's everyone doing today? I am good. I tell them I have not sent you that email yet. I want a tax person first. Okay. Why would you need a microphone with a TRRS jack? Standalone mic would only need a TS since mics are mono. Well, here's the thing about that stupid thing. They're like, well, this will work with everything. No, it'll work with a cell phone. A cell phone requires a TRRS and a modern computer if you are harebrained enough to actually use a microphone by plugging it into a 3.5mm port on a computer. That would use a TRRS. But nothing that would ever be used in any official audio engineering would actually be TRRS for a mic. It makes no sense. So I end up getting a TRRS to TRS adapter for it. Hope we got a chain on the Pi so it won't get stolen. Well, I'm not going to go and put it up next to Walmart. I'm just going to set it in the window of my vehicle, and I will be back here, well, for the most part. Is there a security risk with using public Wi-Fi? Yes, that is why I have it configured. I set up 2 configurations for it. One of those is a configuration for using it with a VPN, and one of it was a configuration for without a VPN. And I had to set up 2 separate configuration profiles for reasons I will explain when I get into the video. But yeah, so if you just jumped in, we're talking about I have taken one of my Raspberry Pis and converted it into a device that I can borrow somebody's public Wi-Fi and feed it into my Ethernet network in the van. So all of my computers will have internet through one Wi-Fi portal. Let's see. Greetings, folks. Hope everyone is having a great Wednesday. You too, Devoured Eagle. I hope you're having great. I like self-hosted because I can control my data. Not like the Ring. I did actually find in doing my research, though, you can hook up the Ring to only communicate with Home Assistant, apparently. I don't know. I might have to find a cheap Ring or a cheap Waze camera and play with it. Because both of those are on the Home Assistant compatibility.
The neighbors around here are kind of into that Ring thing. And one of the things that's probably not very good is I belong to the local next door chat, and I find that to be more useful than useless. Even though it is kind of a platform that may be a little dangerous, but neighbors come on there and they tell you things you don't know. I didn't know the Walgreens down in town had closed.
Oh, yikes.
Yeah, because I haven't been down there in a month. And, now there's a big car theft ring going on around here where people are getting their cars jacked right out of their driveway.
Oh, that's exciting.
Chrysler products seem to be the easiest to get.
Well, I would figure it'd be Hyundai products.
No, they're after Chargers, Hellcats, trucks. Oh, okay. There was a dealer down in Waterford. They actually... cut the fence. There was 30 of them.
Yikes.
And tried to steal 30 cars, and they got a shootout with a security guard in the fence.
Huh. You live in a nice place, man.
I live out in the sticks, and this is going on. They come out here from the cities.
It's getting crazy, though. It's getting crazy out there, for sure.
Yeah. And like myself, I'm in a condo complex. So we have multiple buildings. And somebody... Yeah, I probably shouldn't have seen it at the time, but I did. I was visiting the office manager because she's a friend of mine from years ago, because I actually trained her from our old work. The same position, 2 different groups. But so she's the office manager, and she said, look at this. And I'm seeing a picture in the hallway, and I'm seeing a camera that can look up and down the hallway, and there's a red camera on top of the peephole. And I'm like, that shouldn't be there. That's a privacy security violation right there. She's like, yeah, we're gonna handle that. And I'm like, oh boy.
Yeah.
Well, never mind. I'll tell you that when we go off air. But
Okay.
Let's see. Devoured Eagle is still trying to install Nextcloud. I think I have a video about installing it on cPanel. Let's see. I started using Linux because of encryption. I used to have a movie collection, but use that which cannot be mentioned on the Tubies. I know, right? Don't mention that K word on the Tubies. Are you trying to get the channel banished? I mean, jeez. Quick, what is the benefit of using a password manager versus, say, encrypted LibreOffice spreadsheet? All right, an encrypted LibreOffice, like a password protected, I think you mean LibreOffice spreadsheet, can be hacked with a basic computer in about a minute. Whereas a password manager like KeePassXC, it would take a supercomputer to breach your file. The encryption on the LibreOffice is not particularly good. So that's really the difference. But what I would use is KeePassXC, which is all offline, is what I would recommend on that. I got an email from Comcast years ago about my activities on the Pirate Bay. Use VPN containers now. There you go. Dan, go ahead.
The problem with the most of the popular encryption schemes is they're open source, so it doesn't take somebody very long to figure out how to reverse engineer it.
Well, I mean, it's not as easy as that, though. A lot of it is the computing power. So Like MD5 is completely breachable, but SHA is still not able to be breached without supercomputer access. And even that, I don't know if it's completely there. So just because it's open source doesn't mean it's necessarily is easy to reverse engineer. But it would kind of depend on what types of things you're looking at. Let's see. Dirt Rock, greetings. All inspiring. Wish there was a Nextcloud server for Flatpak instead of Snap. There might be a Docker, though. I can't remember for sure all the details. I drive a manual. Most people can't steal it. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Platypus 415 is over on Twitch with some Bob Rosses. Greetings. Thanks for joining us over there on Twitchies. And we have some activity over there on D Live as well. Vampire Frog. I've run Mine Test Server, fully open source, but buggier than Minecraft. All right. Using Nextcloud to sync PC and phone. Running on a Rockpost 642 terabyte NVMe. Works out well. Takes about 10 watts. Yeah, that sounds about right for that. Plan on hosting an eCloud instance because the phone has EOS on it too. I think it integrates even better. The E accounts, unless they've changed something, last I knew were just branded Nextcloud. So Nextcloud should work, and every time I've tested the EOS, which has been about 2 years now since I played with EOS, but last time I checked it, it was fully integratable with any private Nextcloud account. I think that was the case, but I'm not 100% sure. Still no discussion over there on Rumble. It's quiet over there on Rumble. We only have 2 watching on Rumble right now. I must have gotten boring over there.
I can't get Rumble to load right now because it wants to load the whole 45 minutes you've already streamed.
Oh, really? Yeah, I couldn't even get it running earlier. I don't know. Yeah,
earlier it would run. Now it's like it wants to load the whole session we just did.
I'm thinking Rumble's having a few issues right now, which is why there's only 2 over there and no communications. So, and nobody over there on the locals. I do set these up as a live chat on locals as well, but we got to get a bigger community over there before it's super active and get a lot of people over there. So we'll figure it out. Anyway, I think that's what I wanted to chat about here. Anything else we want to mention before we jump off here?
Nothing I can think of.
All right. I'm looking at other things on Alternative 2. I'm gonna have to play around over here and see what kind of fun applications jump out of the website onto my servers.
Yeah, my communications between PCs is kind of limited to Warpinator or Snapdrop.
Yeah, I should play around with Warpinator.
Once you get that working pretty good, it is faster than downloading something to a USB drive and then sticking it in another computer and unloading it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I should play around with that a little bit because my server, my NAS server is not always on in the van just to save power.
It's available as a flat pack.
Yeah, and so grabbing it, being able to sync stuff over. Usually right now what I do is I just sync it through my Nextcloud, which generally is pretty quick too.
Warpinator is extremely easy. It creates a Warpinator file right in your home directory, and you can change that in the preferences if you want. The key thing is the name of the thing you're going to use, the domain name and the preferences. You got to have them to match for it to know that it's almost like a software key.
Yeah.
Because its default is Warpinator, and you want to change that.
Yeah, I've played around with it a little bit. I don't know if I've done a full video on it. I should look in that. Devoured Eagle says he just was able to get onto Odyssey right now, so maybe Odyssey was having issues. Like I said, I was having issues getting Odyssey to load earlier today, so maybe that's the thing. I need to email the Odyssey guys too. Anyway, I do not seem to find a way to embed a playlist into a website, so I need to chat with them about that. See if I can solve it. All right, guys. I think we're going to wrap this one up. May or may not be a video tomorrow. It depends. I have one to record on the Christian channel tomorrow, which is going to be my priority. But,
Friday news.
Friday news. Yep. Friday, the weekly news roundup.
So everybody come back for that. It's always great.
Yep. and it'll be a fun one. You know, we've got a lot of different news from a lot of different places, so it'll be kind of fun. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching, everybody, and we will see you guys later. Of course, if you are a supporter and you want to jump around and hang out for a half hour or so, we'll be here for a little bit, and then we'll jump out from there. Thanks for watching, everybody, and we will see you next time.